Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
With all the television shows like Ancient Aliens and all the paranormal stuff that's coming out, it's really easy to find access to the original information now because we're being allowed to. So that means the change is upon us. So it's happening.
Are you more a nature-based religion, would you say? How would you describe your spirituality if you had to? And it's unfortunate we have to categorize things, but if you were to categorize, are you nature religion? Are you a spiritualist based off nature? Does it all come from one, the universe is all a product of something divine that we don't fully understand? I mean, what would you say you are?
A seeker.
A seeker. That's a great song from The Who.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
a great song from The Who, but okay.
I'm curious, and I prefer to say I don't want to put a name on it because there's too much information that I will never ever have access to.
So does a true teacher have full explanations? I mean, on this realm? I mean, it sounds like...
No, you can't.
Okay.
There are guides.
Okay.
So the question I have, though, is Christ the Messiah, in your opinion?
Wow.
Is Christ the person the Messiah?
Christ the Messiah, the Son of God,
right.
Is he the Messiah?
Christ, the human embodiment, supposedly, of God himself. Was he the savior for all of the things that wrong humankind? I mean, do you agree with that? Or do you think it's an organized brainwashing? I mean, honestly, what's your take on it?
Go back to the original translations. Mm-hmm. Son of God.
Son of God.
Son of God.
It was not a human.
Right.
The Son.
Right.
The Son.
Okay.
Which is why there are pyramids to the sun worship.
Understood.
So is the human being that had that name and was in that situation the Son of God? There's a whole other theory about that. That's why the ancient families, the families that are in charge of the world economy, the underground families, the Illuminati, if that's what you want, the word you want to use, they were chosen since ancient times, which is why their bloodlines exist to this day, because when the aliens, if that's what you want to call them, installed us here, taught us, manipulated DNA, whatever it is you want to subscribe to, there were leaders of tribes that convened in these meetings to speak with the elite, which is why priests became magicians, because there wasn't a word for science. Looking at the stars is not magic. It's science. So the intelligent ones in the group were the ones that became these families that now exist today and have turned it all into their power-hungry manipulation of the world. So if you subscribe to that theory, is Jesus Christ the Messiah? I believe that the original version of what it's supposed to mean, we are all part of the Messiah.
Okay.
Because we're put here as frequencies and vibrations in a human form. And if you believe in that school of thought, it's to find your soul so that when you do pass on and you go back to where we came from, you go into one of the 7 higher echelons of heaven at a different frequency because you've made contact, because you've understood your purpose here on earth, which is to be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
Pretty extreme stuff, right?
I almost feel like Rob Van Dam should be sitting here too.
You ain't kidding, but I gotta tell you,
seriously,
highly.
I mean, they're different, but somehow they're similar.
With going back to the Hannibal interview, you could tell how highly intelligent this gentleman is.
Well, there's
right?
no doubt about that.
Okay, whether I
As
agree
for me,
or disagree,
that's a different story,
but whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So
whatever.
again, we got some questions.
I think it's time for a commercial break.
Well, hold on. Got one question. I know. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
Got some fans asking. So, as being as intelligent as you are, and as spiritual as you are, 'cause clearly you're spiritual, why so much heat with a guy like Jericho, Guerrero, Sting? Where was the problem? Was it just about money? I mean, if Sting is sitting across you and you're discussing this type of beliefs, who Sting supposedly is very religious.
Okay.
Why would there be any heat about anything that went on in your lives together?
I believe a few things. One is because of my head injury, I don't really remember a lot.
Okay.
But I'm very conscious that I and part of my ritual magic is I accept the fact that if I had a bad marriage or my economic situation is bad or there's heat from all these different sources, they all have one thing in common. I was involved.
Right.
So there must be something about me that provoked that. So I've already confronted that and apologized. Whatever it was about me.
Well, let me ask you, in your opinion, what was it about you that triggered these people?
Well, I don't have an idea. But whatever they say, it's because that's it. So even though I don't understand it, it must be true because that's what they're saying that's bothered them. So I accept it and I'm okay with that. The other reason is why there's so much heat is because I just did not give a fuck about any of it. And I was very fortunate. There's only 2 people that I know of. And one of them is a bitter rival in my life. But if you didn't sell out the Arena Mexico, to me in the wrestling world, you weren't shit. Because, you know, usually the guys...
You're probably speaking about Konnan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the reason is because you're pushed in a storyline and the company invests in you. Konnan and myself, that didn't happen. It was a rock star moment, and it was because of our connection with the people. So I had that powerful memory or part of my DNA. I didn't ever think I was a famous wrestler. I knew I was a rock star in the eyes of the people. So when, you know, Chris Jericho, whatever his issue is with me, he could say that I was jealous, he was jealous, he could say whatever. All I can tell you is, one, I truly respect him, and I think a young person coming into this business, if they want to look at somebody, how to diversify, to capitalize on this, he's the one to look at. But me as a person, he does not even register in my realm of existence. He doesn't exist to me. That's how unimportant he is to me. And I don't mean that as an insult. What I mean is, if Chris Jericho had never been born, my life would be the same. I could give a fuck about his existence in this world.
Understood.
But I totally support and respect him as a successful professional. Sting, I got no fucking clue. If it was a jealousy thing or they were in his head or in his ear, I couldn't tell you. Eddie Guerrero, I love Eddie Guerrero to death. And whatever was going through his mind at that time in his life when he said those things about me in his book, if that's truly how he felt in his heart and soul, then God bless him for it, and it's okay.
So let me ask you, as a human being, though,
yeah,
when you read this stuff, right? Because, look, man, I'm being completely honest with
Sure.
you. Sitting across from you, I could tell you're a good human being. I could tell that you're religious, whatever religion you're veering towards, right?
God.
I got you. How does that feel? Like, does it hurt?
I'll answer it differently than before. It can't, because I've leveled up as a human so much from my studying and being with Alzheimer's and knowing I'm going to die young, for example. There is the most precious thing that we have is time. And the little bit of time that I have, it's dedicated to giving back to the fans, giving back to the society, and loving my daughter. So whatever was written about me, it means zero. It just doesn't register with me. So whatever he needed to say to have that chapter in his book looked at by everybody else, hey, if that's what you guys needed, great. Even if you hate the fuck out of me and you say these things, I was there. Nobody else was there. Me and Eddie were there. And I will tell you, on the life of my daughter, my mother, and myself, it wasn't that way. And I'm okay with that. And if nobody else believes me, I give zero fucks.
And with that, we'll take a quick commercial break with a very impressive human being, Vampiro.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite 4-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.